Hello, Husker fans. Welcome to episode 269 of the Husker Football Fan Podcast. I'm Mike Harvat.
And I'm Justin Swanson.
In today's episode, we react to Nebraska's victory over Iowa, and we discuss the beginning of the Matt Rhule era.
You can find us on the web at huskerpod.com or by searching Husker Football Fan Podcast on Facebook. You can also connect with us on Twitter by following at HuskerPod or email us at huskerpod@gmail.com. This episode is brought to you by Central Nebraska Buffalo. Check out their website for their latest deals. That's cnbuffalo.com.
Also brought to you by Monty Rohde with Pinnacle Realty in Lincoln. Looking to buy or sell a home in Lincoln or know somebody who is? Reach out to Monty at 402-770-3356. A happy birthday to you, a happy birthday to you. May you feel Jesus near every day of the year. A happy birthday to you, a happy birthday to you, and the best year you ever had. Happy birthday, Justin.
Well, is that a real song?
That's a real song my mother sang all the time to me. Apparently it's like a Christian version of a happy birthday song that she learned at camp.
Oh, fun.
So, yeah.
Never heard it.
Yeah, now I know it only because, like, sometime in my teenage years, she started doing that, and I'm like, okay. So,
wow, thanks, yeah.
It's
good,
like the Applebee's version of birthday, only for Christian camps.
Gotcha, thank you.
Happy birthday, for real. It is Justin's birthday, like, right now, the time that we're recording.
When we're recording, yeah, the day Matt Rhule came to Lincoln.
Yeah, I got you a $74 million birthday present. I hope you like it.
Really nice of you. Really thoughtful. It's a lot of money. I don't know if I'm worth it.
Oh, time will tell. I'll get back to you in about 9 years.
Oh man, yeah. So where do you want to start with this? Do you want to start with the Iowa game, or do you want to start with the new coach?
I feel like it's appropriate to let's touch on the Iowa game briefly before, because I mean, there's a million things that we could talk about with Rhule. So. Did you expect a win on Friday?
Did I expect a win? I didn't expect a win. I hoped for a win.
Of course. We always hope for a win.
I mean, I hoped that we could challenge them with the passing game in a way that no one else had done, but did I expect it? No.
Did you believe it?
When we fumbled that...
Oh, gosh.
That run towards the end, I thought it was over.
I tweeted, "Here we go."
That was unreal. How several people were saying, "Oh, we've got it." It's like, no. How could you say that? It's clearly not over till it's over. And this team has a terrible history. So, props to Mickey Joseph on pulling that one out of the brink of disaster.
For doing what Scott Frost was never able to do. I don't think, did we have a victory over Iowa under Frost?
No, and one of my coworkers was on the team. He was a senior when Bo, right after Bo got fired, was when he graduated. And so he has always said, we haven't beat Iowa since Bo got fired.
Oh, gross.
Yeah. So it'd been a while. So Scott didn't do it. Riley didn't do it. It had been a while. So, yeah, we got it done. I mean, man. And just, what was it, 17-0 at halftime? Just crushed them that first half. Now, I went back and watched it, and it was shocking. Like, during the game, it was shocking how uncharacteristic they were in terms of sloppy turnovers and dumb penalties. But, like, on the first rewatch in a really long time, it was exceptionally shocking. Like, I just couldn't believe how they self-destructed, and Petrus was knocked out, which I don't know how much worse Padilla was, and people have been knocking on Petrus all season. So, man, just wild. Muffin punts, sacks where the right tackle didn't touch anybody, letting Caleb Tanner rip on by. I mean, it was after that first half, it was ripe for the taking.
Yeah. I just want to point out, it did sound a moment ago like you said something about muffin punts, which I'm hungry, so, yeah.
It's a bad joke, Mike.
No, that's not a joke. It actually did sound like you're talking about food for a second to me.
Muffing the punt.
Yes. So
dropping the punt. Did you expect us to win?
I'm going to be honest. I actually I was in the depths of despair on Thursday. I mean, that sounds bad. It was Thanksgiving, but like as a fan, as a Husker fan, I was like, this season's over. I don't expect tomorrow to be a fun game to watch, but I'm gonna watch because I feel like that's my duty as a fan, you know. And so a friend of mine who is an Iowa fan, she posted a meme saying something about like when you post, it's that picture of Nicolas Cage. I don't even know what the movie is, maybe like Con Air or something, when he gets out of jail and like he's feeling the wind blow through his hair for the first time in years. It's that, and it's like when you post a meme to trigger Husker fans and it does exactly what it's supposed to do.
Gosh.
And I just replied to her, I said, I don't think you realize how numb we are at this point. Like this doesn't, we're not triggered by anything. There's nothing you can say or do that will make us feel worse about our situation as fans of the Cornhuskers. And so I actually ended it by saying, enjoy your win tomorrow.
Oh my.
But there was a little bit of a superstition attached to that when I posted that, because I was thinking to myself, well, we've been hoping to win. There are times where we've even been expecting to win over the last 7-8 years, and we didn't win. So maybe if I expect us to lose, we might win.
Reverse psychology or something.
So that's also me maybe kind of making excuses for myself for the first time ever as a fan, kind of being like, yeah, we're going to lose. And then we won. And now the corner's been turned, and we're never going to lose a game again, right? Because we got a new coach, and everything's going to be just fine.
Something like that. What did you think of that leaping the shield penalty?
I mean, it was the right call.
We haven't talked a ton about long snappers this year, but my first thought was you can't jump the long snapper in the same way. Mm-hmm. Because I think this leaping the shield is more about the leaper because of how you might come down bad. I wonder if jumping the snapper is more about this person getting leapt over, like getting crushed in a weird way after being all fully extended. But,
well, weren't they saying that the long snapper is by rule a defensive player? So if you make contact with them, like in any way, shape, or form, that's the issue there?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. I mean, I guess maybe not like if you have incidental contact, but if you try jumping over them and make contact with them while jumping over them, certainly,
Yeah.
So, but it is what it is.
Trey Palmer passed Stanley Morgan for the best season ever as a wide receiver.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but like I'm just shocked. Like, when did that storyline get picked up? Because nobody was talking about that chase all season long, I don't feel.
Well,
and then,
yeah, I feel like with the Purdue game, that's when I last heard serious chatter about it. And then I don't remember who we played after Purdue, but he had one reception for 1 yard.
Maybe people just shut up with that.
Yeah, and then Casey got hurt and was out for a couple games, and we struggled big time with getting it to our playmakers.
Good point.
And so I feel like that's kind of where it died. But then once Casey came back, I think I had a sense that both he was close, and then also Matt Grant. Hey, what's up, Matt, if you're listening?
Hi, Matt.
Anthony Grant was 120, 130 yards from a 1,000-yard season as well. So it was all possible, but for Anthony, was not to come to pass.
Well, what a fun ending to just a terrible year. What a wonderful way to send off this season, because I mean, I forget who people have said this, so it's not unique to any one person, but there was the observation that we're not going to a bowl game, so that was basically these guys' bowl game. And just for all the seniors especially to get that win, to finally beat Iowa, to kind of like, at least that's one feather they can stick in their cap, so to speak. They got to have something special on Friday, something that they could feel proud of. And
Yeah.
Even more than for the fan base, like I feel so good for that team that they were able to take just a dumpster fire of a season and go out with a win. So cool.
And they earned it. They earned that second half win. I mean, they had to really fight and scrap. Not that a blowout would be more, and maybe it would have been more fulfilling, but to start so strong and then struggle and have some of your biggest problems come back and then overcome it. I mean, it's really gratifying and makes the celebration all the more sweet.
I'm really glad we won too, because who was it? Was it Newsome that had 2 potential interceptions that he dropped? Like, if we lost that game, he would have been blamed.
How many times have we seen stuff like that as Nebraska fans in the last, just in this streak of last 2 seasons where we can't win a game to save our life? There's been so many of those. If he just would have not dropped it, or if he could have finished the play, it's a victory.
Well, I mean, I just think back to how many times I've tweeted over the last, even this season, just saying, like, all we need is a stop and we'll be okay. Or all we need is to get a first down and we'll be okay. That, more than wins next year, I think for me, that is going to be the sign of progress, is when Nebraska has the opportunity to take control of a game at the end and shut it down and claim victory. I want to see him do it. I want the defensive stop. And you can say we got the defensive stop in this game, so good for them. But we didn't even need to be in that position if our offense could have just gotten a first down to save their life in the fourth quarter. So
that was really hard to watch.
That is what I want to see next year. I want to see us in an opportunity to win a game and them just saying, like, yep, let's go and take this, and they actually do it.
Hear, hear.
So, yeah, that's the Iowa game.
I'm trying to think if I have anything more to say about the Iowa game.
Well, I mean, it's not like did anything else interesting happen this weekend? This is kind of our, like, wrap-up here, right? There's nothing else to talk about.
Well, I was just, it was the first win against them in 7 years, and so I just don't want to try and think if there's anything.
I was kind of joking about how, like, we do still have to talk about Rhule at some point here.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
You could say that we had 2 wins in one weekend.
Yeah.
Or maybe not. I don't know. What side of the debate are you on, Justin?
I don't think there's much of a debate, do you?
Yeah, there's people online who are like, this is the worst thing that they could have ever done.
That's what people online do.
Yeah. Do you want my honest to goodness opinion about
No,
Matt?
I want you to lie to me.
Okay. Well, okay. I think Matt Rhule is I got nothing.
You can't think of a good lie. That's fine.
Yeah,
I appreciate your honesty.
Dude, yeah, I don't know if you've ever played Among Us, but I am terrible if I'm ever the imposter.
I've played Resistance, but not Among Us.
Okay. Yeah,
same concept.
Yeah, I mean it's like Mafia, but it's a video game.
Oh.
Yeah. So basically, if I'm the bad guy and I have to lie and pretend I'm a good guy, like after the first round, my friends are like, "It's Mike." So
that's good that you're a bad liar.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, it'd be a problem if I was exceptional at it, but
it'd be dubious.
Yeah. Anyway,
one thing to start off this conversation, I thought the contrast between what happened when Matt Rhule showed up at the stadium and what happened when Scott showed up at the stadium for his opening press conference. The first thing Scott did was he went down and he saw all those former players. Mm-hmm. And the first thing Matt did was he got out of the car to a surprise gathering of fans. Mm. And I just wonder if that is indication of who their primary constituencies were. Like Scott was trying to appease or please the former players, and Matt is not saddled with that. He's just here to build a program and embrace the fans.
Yeah. So, do you still want to know my opinion on Matt Rhule?
I do.
I don't have one, and I mean that in the best way. I don't think anybody can honestly say this is a great hire or this is a terrible hire. I think it is something that, I mean, think of all the people, even people who were experts, people who were looking in from the outside when we hired Frost. Sure, there were a lot of people saying, I don't know, this isn't smart, just like you would with anything. But there were so many people who are like, finally, Nebraska's back. Oh, this is going to, like, everything's going to be better now. Like, you remember people were like, college football is better when Nebraska is better. You know, there's all that stuff going on when Frost got hired. And it didn't work out, right? And so I'm looking at the Rhule hire and I'm saying, like, okay, cool. He checks all the right boxes. The press conference today was great, and we can talk about specifics in a minute. But at the end of the day, talk to me in 5 years and I'll tell you whether or not it was a good hire.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that what you're saying speaks to something I've been thinking about, which is even in the specific instance of you and me and this podcast, this is our third new coach because we started with Riley. And as a fan base that's been around for a few years, like we've seen a number of coaches now in the last 20 years. And I think we all need to just be a little bit more guarded, a little more careful as a fan, you know, short for fanatic. It's a fan's natural inclination to go crazy about their person and to think that they're the greatest thing ever. With Scott, I feel like there was even more of that because of his background and his connection and the return home and his family history. You know, with Riley,
there isn't going to be a book available in a month or two about how Rhule is such a significant hire, and here's his life story, and here's even some fan fiction about like what he's going to accomplish.
Yeah, and with Bo, there was a little bit of that too, bringing back the guy who had been good for Frank. And so anyway, I just think that for myself, and hopefully for all of us, we can all be a little bit more dispassionate. Still, you know, still rooting for the team, but just we don't have to think everything he says is the greatest thing ever. You know, some people still are going to do that because that's what they want to do. I mean, some of the folks on Twitter who get a lot of interactions, they just, you know, they're pumping positivity, which I guess I don't want to say we're going to be negative, but I just want to be more cautious. And I even saw someone saying that to us on social media yesterday. Like, well, I know you guys want to pump up the fans, but hold off. And I said, like, you know, in the past we probably have. I don't know if we've consciously tried to pump people up or if it's just what we do for ourselves, and so we instinctively pass it on. But I think we all want to be just a little more careful, guard our hearts here.
Yeah, and I guess for me the reality is I don't know enough to know whether this guy's good or bad. Like, and let's be honest, the people online, the people on the forums, the people fighting on Twitter, like people getting in these arguments and these threads, you're going to have some people who know their stuff. You're going to have some people who have been studying and following the careers of various coaches and stuff. We've all seen the stats. We can talk about Temple. We can talk about Baylor. But at the end of the day, like, I'm just a fan, right? Like, I'm going to trust the people who are paid millions of dollars, who have their careers on the line, who are making these decisions to make the right decisions. And if nothing else, I think that Trev Alberts has a good record as an AD. I think he's smart. I think he's a heck of a lot better than the guy who preceded him. So, and I guess when I say the guy who preceded him, I'm not talking about, was it Moose? Yeah. I'm talking about he who shall not be named.
Sorry.
It's all good. But at the end of the day, let's be honest with yourself as a fan. We don't know. We're just fans.
Yeah, he does have, I mean, the things we do know, he does have a track record of building to success with programs that are lowly, whether it's, you know, Temple that had no real history of wins, or if it's Baylor who was mired in the depths of scandal. Not quite death penalty, but, you know, really torn apart.
I was one of the people who was advocating for just to shut it down. This is
and he
too
built
much.
him up.
Yeah.
And he built him up. I know a name. You and I purposefully stayed away from name dropping on the podcast just because Now, I'm not filled with useless knowledge about a whole bunch of candidates that we didn't get, and we can spend time learning more about Rhule. But I know personally, Fickle was a name that I'd thought about, and it was so interesting that Wisconsin hired him right after we hired Rhule.
Yeah.
And I didn't see that one coming. And, my first instinct is, well, that sucks. That's kind of who I wanted. But to hear Trev speak today at the press conference and to think through this, how deliberative he's been, he wanted a guy who has a track record of building and rebuilding. And that's, I don't know that you have that with Fickle. It's just not the same.
Yeah.
So, and man, it sounds like they worked with like an analytics firm to look at trends in the Big Ten and like what makes for successful coaching and what doesn't. I'm not exactly sure how that all fits in, but they went deep and they went long. Sounds like Trev was pretty absent from his family for 2 months is the way he made it sound. And I did went speaking of Trev, I showed up at the stadium to see Matt Rhule walk in, and he was excited to see all the fans there. Apparently he didn't know that was going to happen. Spoke briefly, and then as he was walking in, I was kind of standing up on the stairs where everybody was walking in, and I said, "Good work, Trev," and he heard me and he looked back and said thank you. So
that's great.
Feel pretty good about that.
I can only assume he's listening to the podcast today, so hello to Trev. And,
yeah, what do you want to say to Trev in that, if since he's listening?
Just we respect you, and we're hoping for the best. Thank you for putting in the hard work.
Yeah. And I think, are we paying Rhule double what we were paying Scott?
We're paying him a lot of money.
Yeah, I think it's double. It's a lot. And he's got a big old pot of money for his staff. The big question, we're recording here on Monday the 28th. The big question I think a lot of people still have is Mickey. It's all roses and happiness now. There haven't been any hard decisions made, but
there have. I mean, not regarding Mickey, but he's already let some people go as of tonight.
Oh yeah, like who?
Off the top of my head, Duvall. I think we may already have a new strength coach. I don't
see that as like letting people go because you bring in your own strength coach.
Oh, sure.
That's
okay.
That's not surprising. If whether or not, and also I think people were really questioning Duvall by the end of the Frost era.
Sure.
He wasn't he was highly regarded when he came in, and I think he lost his luster like so many of those guys. Mickey. What happens with Mickey will be the first, and it's pretty quick, but the first real test of the Rhule era is how that goes, and I think Mickey is super professional and is going to be, if it doesn't work out for him to stay on staff, I think he's going to not hold it against the staff. Like he did a darn good job keeping this team together, a darn good job. And I think he has a lot to be proud of. And, I think the future is bright for Mickey Joseph, not a novel thought here, not a unique thought.
So let's talk about comparing. I mean, this is what's on my mind today is just sifting through what I heard today versus what I heard when Scott had his press conference and when Mike Riley had his press conference. It is interesting to me just how, and maybe this is me just kind of falling for a guy being a smooth talker, because like, holy cow, public speaking skills. But I just think back to, like, with Riley, it was like, well, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to give it my best shot, And then Frost was a lot of, we're going to come back and everybody's going to have to adjust to us. Like, there was a lot of, like, swagger and a lot of just, like, yep, it's happening. I'm the guy. And Rhule is just kind of like, we're going to work really hard. I have a process I believe in. And I actually really appreciate that he didn't say, like, we're going to a bowl game next year. Even though 2 weeks ago I was saying, that's the benchmark we need to have.
That's what Mike wants. Mike wants a bowl game.
But I mean, like, he was saying, like, we're going to put in the hard work that will produce going to a bowl game, that will produce eventually competing in championships. Now, if that happens immediately, great, but it's like if you build it, it will happen kind of thing. I don't know. I appreciated that he was like, we're going to do this the right way. We're going to, what was he? He's talking about winning in the trenches, and just we can talk about that stuff. But I really appreciated that he did not try to say, and in fact, I think he even came back and said, I don't think that we have earned the right, or I don't think Nebraska has the right to talk about championships or anything just yet. We need to get on the right track, and then we can start having that discussion. And it was like,
Yeah.
that's not something you expect to hear on day one from a coach. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, and that's the message that needs to be heard.
Uh-huh.
We're kind of starting over, but with a dude who's done it. And I was just watching some video right before you and I got on the call here, and he met with Casey Thompson for an hour on Saturday. And has expressed to Casey that he hopes he can be the quarterback next year.
That's cool.
And that he also sat down with Garrett Nelson and some others, which Garrett did not walk for senior day. So, yeah. He's got a plan. He's got a blueprint. And, he's done it twice. I feel like we maybe said that about Scott, and now in hindsight we realize that though the team was 0-12 before he took it over, it was actually pretty decent the year before that, and it was just a really toxic situation where things fell apart. Things fell apart the year before Scott got there, almost as miraculously as things fell together his second year at UCF. Mm-hmm. Catching lightning in a bottle, and then the opposite of whatever that is, the lightning catching the bottle. And so anyway, all that to say, what I'm trying to say is that Rhule has twice now flipped a culture, and Scott kind of did it once, but maybe not as effectively as realized.
Something I also appreciate is I think that fans are more okay with what he said today than they would have been in the past. We were saying like, hey, let's respect the past, but the point here isn't to go back to what we used to be. We need to move forward. Even when Scott Frost was hired, I think a lot of people would have bristled at that. I think most fans today are like, yep, let's go. They're like, 100%, let's respect the traditions that we have. He brought up the tunnel walk, and it seems like he... again, this is I think speaks well of him. He was saying like, hey, I'm going to ask you to be patient with me. I need to learn the culture a little bit here. And then we'll, find our new path forward in the midst of all of that. And so I thought that was pretty cool.
He's definitely a good public speaker, which I feel like I'd heard that a few times beforehand, like he was going to be good with the press. So, that probably contributes to a more positive view of what this team's capable of in the lead up to the season, unless he's able to, like, in his positive engagement, unless he's able to also say like, hey, we've got a long way to go. We're not going to win a championship.
Yeah, I guess for me it comes back to just comparing his presentation to the last two coaches, and just how as both you and I have been in various leadership positions in various contexts, to me, it's like, oh, wow, this is a lot of good stuff that he's saying that we did not hear from the last couple of coaches. I mean, just strictly as being responsible, being putting in the hard work, all that stuff. I don't know. It's actually kind of like, oh man, Mickey, he did a lot of good things over the last, however many games that he got a coach as the interim. And it almost feels like we're still going in that same direction with Rhule now. Just kind of this like cleansing or this purification of, I'm going to say it, the word's going to come out, culture at our school. But I mean, that really is what it comes down to. And I think that you're going to find just a respect and a I'm losing the words here, but I just feel like there's going to be a healthy culture cultivated by Rhule that maybe we didn't get from Frost and
Yeah,
Riley.
he's going to build things from the foundation up, not, Scott came in with his expectations of what was going to work, and then it didn't work, and then it felt like maybe he was trying to cut corners, and a lot of it, all the bravado, like the bravado of his first year, like you can't, it's empty rhetoric at that
You
point.
better get us now, because
Right.
in a few years, we're going to be even worse.
You better get us now because it's going to get easier.
You better beat us now, because in a few years, it's not going to mean anything anymore when you beat us.
Yeah.
Maybe we're being too mean to Frost.
I mean, he's like the worst coach in our lifetime.
Yeah.
No doubt. I mean, Riley was...
Yeah, we spoke
went
so
to
poorly of
two bowl
Riley.
games.
Mm-hmm.
Was
One
in the
had
top
an
10 at one
asterisk,
point.
didn't it?
Yeah, but he went.
Yeah.
And we won it also. And then Callahan played for a conference title.
Yeah.
Callahan couldn't let go of his buddy defensive coordinator. Riley had to fire his buddy defensive coordinator and got saddled with a disaster. Anyway, yeah, Scott. I mean, you can't. The record speaks for itself.
And Frost did not get us to 10 wins.
He did not.
Like, total. Oh, can you believe that we're saying that?
I wonder how much longer we're gonna keep talking about Scott.
Yeah. Oh man, do you remember all the Pelini talk in the first couple of seasons of our podcast? We talked about Pelini a lot, dude.
I don't. I mean, I believe you. I don't remember it, but I mean, I don't doubt it.
I just remember making jokes about how maybe we should stop talking about Pelini sooner or later.
Well, I saw a joke, and it was kind of a joke, but it was kind of also serious, saying when Rhule has flipped these teams, the first two seasons have not been awesome in terms of results. And this person was saying, yeah, but you can blame Scott for those. I mean, he's like the shadow coach that you can blame.
I mean, we were doing that with Riley the first couple of years with Scott.
We were doing it with Riley almost to the last season.
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah, so Mike, how are you and I going to be better fans and podcast hosts? Is there something that you and I need to... I don't have an answer to this question. It's a genuine one. How do we not get overly hyped? How do we not, I want to be a fan and I want to root for the best. Kind of like with the Iowa game. I was hoping we would win. Did I expect we would win? No. That's something we have to earn back. So how do we support the team and not expect massive things, but also look to a future where we can count on wins again? Do we just need to reality check? Are we being realistic here?
I think back to your guard your heart type stuff you were talking about earlier. I think that we naturally are going to have some of that built in this season. I don't think that you're going to hear as much talk about Rhule that we heard with Frost, where people were like, well, if Frost can't do it, nobody can, right? I think more what you're going to hear from Nebraska fans over the next couple of years is well, this is the guy that we've got. We need to just wait and see what happens, because he has a 8-year contract?
Yep.
8 years. I don't want to make you freak out, but you will be closer to 50
Woof.
at the end of that contract, Justin, than 40. So
my oldest will be 16. My youngest will be 10.
So I think it's just kind of one of those things where it's hey, you know what? This is a long-term relationship we've just signed on for. This is, maybe this isn't, I don't want to say anything disrespectful or inappropriate, but it's almost kind of like an arranged marriage where it's we got to figure out how to make this work.
Trev arranged the marriage
Yeah.
between the fans and Rhule. Sure, that's an interesting analogy.
Yeah, and so
sometimes arranged marriages are the most healthy marriages.
sometimes they are.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the divorce rate of people who marry for love, it's 50%.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Not here to endorse arranged marriages.
But, there's something to be said about hey, I know somebody who's perfect for you. And maybe Trev's the guy telling us that. As
Trev's
fans.
like, hey, I looked at the analytics, and let me tell you what.
This may not be what you think you want, but it's what you need.
Can't always get what you want.
And so we gotta love the one we're with.
I mean, I don't know who else. Like I said, I've not tried to advocate for anyone in particular in regards to wanting. So I'm excited about this guy, and yeah, it's time to.
He seems like a good coach and a decent dude. And for me, that's all you can ask for.
It was fun to hear that he's like, I'm going to be involved with the community. I mean, he's got
oh my gosh, yeah,
younger kids, and like Riley lived in Embassy Suites the whole time. I'm not joking.
No, like
his wife had
an allergy, and they bought like a house where the carpet needed to be replaced.
Right? Yeah. So.
I forgot about that. Oh, dude, do you think Scott Frost ever got his Wii back?
I do think it was neat that Matt apparently talked to Scott.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how cool is that? He's talking to everybody. I mean, that's kind of the way I'm wired. Like, let's talk to everybody, figure out get the lay of the land, make sure you got a decent relationship with everybody, and I like that approach.
Yeah,
that's how I'd go about it. Although I don't know. I mean, it helps that it sounds like he knew Scott. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, if he didn't, I don't know if I'd have the cojones to reach out.
Right.
I would. He's not ever going to do it, but I would love to hear what Scott's thinking right now.
Oh man, in 20 years, there's going to be some documentary made. It'll be really interesting.
But here's the thing. I mean, look at Frank. Frank went to Ohio and had this successful career, and I think he's got family who live in Lincoln, and I understand that he like slips in and out of town like to see them, but he does not do anything official.
Yeah.
And I could see Scott following that model.
Oh yeah. At this point, I don't know. I mean, if I were in his shoes, I would be like, yeah, I'm gonna take these millions of dollars they're paying me to leave, and I'm gonna actually leave. Go back to Florida or wherever, So, but yeah, that's another interesting kind of yin to Frost yang is that Rhule seems to be interested in being a part of the community, and we certainly didn't feel that with Frost. I mean, on day one, he was saying, "Don't you dare! Don't you dare come for my family! You stay away from them."
I have a specific set of skills, and if you talk to my mama, I will hunt you down.
If you steal my Wii,
I will probably not get it back.
But yeah, I mean, that is an interesting. It's like, yeah, you know what? I think maybe again, this is coming back to the word I was using earlier. I think that's probably a healthier approach of like, hey, we're gonna try to put down roots here, and that means my family is going to be a part of the community of Lincoln, Nebraska, and so. You might see my kids at the library or my wife at Hy-Vee or wherever, So,
yeah, it's neat.
Just be cool, people. Don't be idiots. Because I mean, on the flip side, I can see why Frost would be guarded. I don't think that's necessarily wrong. It's just an interesting.
I don't hold it against him.
Yeah, no, certainly not. Yeah.
I did read. I think it was Dirk, who I know some people are divisive on. Dirk Chalin pointed out that. In his letter to Matt Rhule, or whoever, I don't remember if it was specifically to Matt or if it was to whoever the next coach is, was explaining just how unique this place is and some of the quirks and intricacies of who we are as a people and what we expect. And he said with Scott came in with a vision and then it didn't work and then he checked out emotionally. And, I feel like I haven't heard anybody kind of spell it out like that so directly, and here we are still talking about Scott. I just want to know what happened.
Yeah.
Just want to know what happened.
Well, I mean, one of my greatest hopes as a Star Wars fan is I want to know what actually happened with the sequel trilogy, and especially what the heck happened with that last movie. There there are some amazing documentaries. There are some amazing books. If you ever get a chance to check out the making of Star Wars books for the original trilogy by, forget his initials, I think it's R.W. Rinsler. Just outstanding books that are like a deep dive into the making of those movies. I don't know if we're going to get that for the sequel trilogy just because there's so much red tape and so much controversy surrounding those movies. But it would be so cool if at some point we can like find out like what was this trilogy supposed to be, what was the vision of each director, and what the heck happened with just the politicking and everything forcing Rise of Skywalker to be pushed forward like a year according to the original plan. I mean, much in the same way that I don't know if you realize this, Justin, but there have been like 20 scripts for Indiana Jones 5. And I just like I'm curious about that stuff. I love the behind the scenes stuff, and I'd love to get that with the Frost era of Nebraska football, but I don't know if the people who can say something are going to want to say something in 10, 15, 20 years, but time will tell.
Yeah, I'll always probably compare the Star Wars sequels to like Harry Potter, where you heard what's her name, the author of Harry Potter, say that she always had a specific vision of how it would end. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of a matter of how she got there, versus like Game of Thrones, the author he likes to follow his characters and try to build real three-dimensional characters and then throw them out into the world and see what happens. And then he like killed everybody and lost his way. And then he quit, he stopped, he stalled. And then the TV shows took all of his time, and then they passed him, and then he was just like left in the dust, and everybody's like, so what's going to happen? Are you going to finish him or are you going to die? So anyway, I wonder where on that spectrum Star Wars fell. It probably isn't even on that spectrum, because it's probably all like focus grouped to death and, like just
that's why I don't,
death by committee.
That's why I don't bother with any of the High Republic stuff, because that's actually like one of their selling points for those books and comics and whatnot.
is that it's not that?
No, is that it like we put a bunch of people together in one room and we wanted to make the most perfect thing that you could imagine. Like, it was basically like we had a focus group for what Star Wars should be and what people want, and here it is, everybody. And I'm just like, ugh, I don't want that.
Did I tell you that I rewatched Rogue One for the first time since it came out?
Oh, wow.
And I pretty much had the same feeling, which was like, meh.
Really?
I know people really like it, but I felt like Jyn Erso, like Felicity Huffman's great. I really like her as an actress. And I felt most of her scenes that were emotional and supposed to give you a connection to the character, it was like, all right, Felicity, now be emotional. Mm-hmm. This is your emotional scene. Like, show us emotion. It's like, okay, Jyn Erso is being emotional. We feel bad for her. Like, I just had no connection to what was happening.
I can see that.
And also, there was a lot of expectations. This is probably a big piece of it. The previews, like, they rewrote and recut so much of it that there's a whole, 6-minute video of scenes from previews that didn't make it to the movie.
Yep. Yeah. I would love, that's another one. I would love to see the original, the first cut of that film, just to see what it was supposed to be. Because, I think it'd be interesting.
I part of the reason I went back is because I've been watching Andor, and I've kind of lost
you started?
Yeah, I'm 2/3 of the way through, and then I went back and watched Rogue One. And one of the reasons I wanted to rewatch it is because I just don't. When I think of Rogue One, Cassian Andor is an afterthought for me. And so I went back thinking, did I just miss him? And no, he's a nothing character. He's only there to get Felicity Huffman into the right places so she can advance. There's nothing to him. And so it's if you had said to me, go watch Rogue One and tell me which character they're going to make
a spin-off
series out of, I would not have picked him. I would have. Anybody else is more interesting than him.
Oh, let me tell you, man. I don't know how far you are into that show, but I love it. I think they stuck the landing. I can't wait for season 2.
It's fun. I'm having a good time. But, it just gets back to my deeper issues with Star Wars, which for me, as I indoctrinate my children, Star Wars for them will just be the original 3. And then everything else will just be, I don't know, Star Wars Plus, Star
Sure.
Wars Extra.
Yeah, it's the
expanded
cherry on
universe.
top. That's the way I feel about Indiana Jones. Everybody hates the fourth movie. I think it's better than Temple of Doom, in my personal opinion. The only thing that I like about Temple of Doom is Short Round. But, like people are like, oh, I can't believe that they're making Indiana Jones 5 and they're calling it the Dial of Destiny. It sounds like a bar of soap. And I'm just going to say, you know what? I'm happy to watch it. And if it helps you to kind of like divorce yourself emotionally from like, this isn't really Indiana Jones because Steven Spielberg didn't even direct it. Okay, whatever. It is one more fun experience you get to have at the theater, seeing one of your favorite characters swing the whip around and shoot a gun and
isn't he cracking the whip?
Whatever. Whipping the whip around. But like whatever, man. It'll be fun. It's just a movie, right? So go have fun with it.
It's just a movie. It's just football.
It's just entertainment. That's why I blew those kisses. It's a little bit of a callback.
I don't.
You don't remember Iowa's kicker blowing kisses on his walk-off field goal?
Took me a moment to sync up with
Anyway, bringing it back to Nebraska football. We got a new coach.
I have seen Iowa fans complaining, and it is so funny.
Trey Palmer had the tweet of the year. I don't think that we can talk about it on the podcast, and the original tweet that he was referencing has since been deleted. Surprise, surprise. But all I got to say is, they huge.
No, that was Chancellor Brewington.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I think, because Iowa fan was talking about, he had a video of Chancellor blowing up a Iowa defender last year.
Right.
And he was basically implying that the Chancellor was a wuss and wouldn't repeat, he couldn't back it up or something. It was a weird tweet. And that was before the game, and of course we won. And so Chancellor took the moment to rub it in his face. And the guy left it up for a long time, so I screenshot it, and then I replied to Chancellor Brewington's tweet saying I'm preserving this for posterity. And finally the guy did delete it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, hey, I think maybe, unless you have any things that you're just dying to say at this point about Rhule, I did post a meme on the Reddit Huskers subreddit the other day. It got a little bit of traction. So basically, I was kind of riffing on we had all those frost warning shirts. So what are we going to have for Rhule? And I said, this is the best I could come up with. I photoshopped his face onto the, or rather over the likeness of, what's his name? It's got the E in it. Elijah Wood.
Oh, yeah.
Put his face over Elijah Wood's on an old Lord of the Rings poster, and it said one coach to rule them all. And so, let's just take a peek here at some of the responses that we got. So people came up with their own slogans that you might see on some T-shirts or bumper stickers or what have you over the next couple of months. I'm sure that for the spring game, there's going to be, one or two designs that's going to kind of rise above the rest that everybody's going to be buying a shirt and wearing it. So here are the top responses, and I'll just read a few of them from this thread on Reddit. H_NT_R95 came up with our house, our rules.
Nice.
It's pretty good.
It's a good one.
I'm skipping the people who were saying negative or cynical things. This one was kind of funny. Almost_Bert Macklin said, I changed my PlayStation name to Frost Advisory 7 when Scott got hired. I feel like an idiot. I'm not doing this again. Let's see here. Rule the West, which that would be valid for just one more year. Jasker5. I can't. Oh, Hits Cypher said, you know the rules, and so do I. Decaying Organ C Matter said, NU rules. That's nice and simple. This one's kind of fun. Even braver, Lil Toaster. The golden rule: beat others as you would want to be beated. And I responded to that one saying, like, I could see some kind of golden rule headline after we win the West. You know.
I like it.
Let's see here. R.I.P. Ben Tramer. Corn rules everything around me. Rule number 1: win. Yeah, I don't know. Somebody said,
those are great. Good work.
Somebody said, when's the comic coming out? There was a Scott Frost comic, wasn't there?
Yep, there was.
I forgot about that. Wow. My brother sent one just a little while ago. I'm trying to remember where I found it. Okay, yeah. Oh, I'm drinking the Rule Aid. That would be a good one for a podcast title right there.
Do it.
Anyway. Yeah, so we'll see what puns and what designs and everything kind of come on out over the next couple of years. See, that's the one bummer about Deion Sanders not getting hired is I was really hoping for like some kind of a tie-in with DeLeon's. By the way, how do you pronounce that restaurant?
I think it's De Leon's.
Everybody, I say De Leon's. But like I'm a white Nebraskan, so when I see it, I'm just going to pronounce it the way it looks on the sign, De Leon's. But like De Leon's, where's the day coming from? I don't know. I don't know why, but I'm pretty sure that's how it is. Maybe next time I go to the drive-thru. Well, see, that's the thing is they usually just say like, "How can I help you?" I need somebody who says like, "Welcome to De Leon's. How may I take your order?" or something like that.
You can help me by telling me how to pronounce your restaurant name.
Oh man. Shout out to the guy working at the Taco Bell at 120th and Center in Omaha. There's a guy who takes orders there, and I was there a couple weeks back because it was close to where my mom was doing some physical rehab stuff. And I went through the drive-thru there, and the guy said, "Welcome to Taco Bell. How may I process your order?"
Process?
It was like he was very much hamming it up, and it made me laugh, and it brightened my day. So,
yeah, I feel like process is not what you want to be thinking about. Like when you're at that place, like it's already on your mind.
Yeah, I used to when I worked at the drive-thru at Scooters, I'd try to put on a Minnesotan accent. "Hey there, welcome to Scooters. What can we get started for ya?"
I'm Matt Coatney.
Oh, yeah, Matt Coatney. Oh, I remember doing those impressions the first couple of years of our podcast, too.
Well, I feel like you still slip into it from time to time.
Yeah, probably. But it's not because I'm making fun of Matt Coatney anymore.
What are you doing?
It just happens. Kind of like how the Kip voice from Napoleon Dynamite happens.
It just slips out of you?
Yeah. I say the word howdy to people because of you.
It's a useful term.
Yeah. Back in the day, I was imitating you when I started saying howdy to people, and now I just say it.
Do I say it on the show?
I don't know about on the show. That's one of the words that you say. That's one of the ways that you greet people.
How you doing?
And it's rubbed off on me.
Oh, I like to think I'm a good influence.
Oh, is it the time? Is it time for me to say I think we're there?
I think we're there, Mike.
Okay.
Well, hey, go Big Red. Go Big Red,
and the next time something newsworthy or noteworthy or something happens, we'll probably break in. Justin and I think we might do some kind of a season post-mortem or something after the new year. It's what we usually do, but in the meantime, I hope everybody had a happy Thanksgiving. Hope you guys have a Merry Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever you're celebrating this winter. Happy solstice, Kwanzaa.
Just land the plane, Mike.
I'm just trying to include everybody if I can. Yeah. But whatever you're celebrating, Festivus.
For the rest of us.
Yeah, whatever it is, we just hope that you stay safe and stay healthy, and we'll see you in a while.
May your days be merry and bright.
It's something like that.
All right, talk to you later, Mike.
All right, see ya.
The Husker Football Fan Podcast is an unofficial, non-commercial podcast and is intended for educational and entertainment purposes only. The views expressed on this podcast belong solely to the individuals expressing them. The Husker Football Fan Podcast is not endorsed by or affiliated with the Nebraska Cornhuskers or the University of Nebraska.